Hey guys, we are going on to part two. This is going to be more on patterns. So now you're actually writing the sentences and using your subjects and verbs and direct objects and indirect objects. And you're going to create different types of sentences. So it's important when you write an essay, you need to make sure you don't just write the same type of pattern over and over and over. Make sure your sentence is boring and your reader loses interest. So got to mix it up. So we're going to talk about some different sentence patterns that you can do with just these four. There's a ton more, but this is what we're going to start with. Okay. All right. So these are right here at the bottom of page 1 in your notes. So if you'll copy this down, the first pattern we're going to look at is just very simple: subject plus a verb. Okay. You can add in adjectives and prepositional phrases, but the base of it is your subject plus a verb. Number 2, you can have your subject plus a verb, put that in the blank there, and a direct object. Okay, you can have that pattern as well. So you're just adding that direct object. So this would work as a sentence, number 1. Number 2 works as a sentence. Then number 3, you can have the subject plus the verb plus an indirect object and a direct object. Now, if you'll notice, there's no pattern where you just have subject, verb, and indirect object. Because remember, got to have a direct object to have an indirect object. Okay, and then the last one, this is where these linking verbs come in. You can have a subject plus a linking verb. Put that in your notes. Oh, that one's already there. Subject complement. There we go. Put that in your notes. Okay, so this is the fourth pattern. So we didn't talk about this yet. But when you have the linking verb, let's just make another note here. Remember, linking verbs, they are, here we go, we need to know these: am, is, are, was, were, be, being, been. If you can memorize all these, I will give you candy. You got to work at it. They're tough, but you need to know them. Got to come back tomorrow, have them memorized, and then you can tell me, and I'll give you a piece of candy. All right, so those are your linking verbs. All right, so then when I'm looking at a sentence, I can tell two things. Am I going to have an action verb or am I going to have a linking verb? If I have an action verb, it's going to be one of these three patterns. So if you have an action verb, it's going to be one of these three. If you have a linking verb, it will always be this pattern, no matter what. Okay, so let's check out some examples. All right, pattern 1, subject plus verb. I'm going to go pretty quick because it's pretty simple. In its simplest form, a sentence has two parts, a subject and a verb. They express a complete thought when they are together. Remember, a sentence is like a bike. Subject wheel, predicate wheel. If you only have one wheel, it's pretty hard. So you got to have both pieces, but those are the most necessary. Remember, your subject answers who or what. The verb shows an action or state of being. Remember, you can have an action or a linking. Okay. All right. Here's some examples of pattern 1. Dog barks. Subject is in green. Verb is in blue. I am. Siblings argue. Al should go. He and I arrived. So you can see you have a bunch of different types of subjects. You always have a noun or a pronoun as a subject. Any of these will work. Plural noun, pronoun, plural noun, proper noun, compound noun. Remember, compound means two. Proper means it's capitalized. Plural means it's more than one. Pronoun takes the place of a noun, like I, they, she, he, we, anything like that. Those are pronouns. They take the place. And then plural, like I said, is more than one. You can have any of those. And then you have action verb, linking verb. Remember, am, is, are, was, were, be, being, been. Am is a linking verb. Action verb, a verb phrase. This is when verbs are together. So you have more than one verb. It's including those helping verbs right here. Should, go. Helping verbs are with it. And then your action verb again. So any of those will work for your pattern. All right, so on your paper, this is page 2 of your notes. There's a few patterns I want you to try to write your own original sentences. I'm going to give you a second. Go ahead and pause the video right here and come up with sentences. The first one, you need a singular noun and an action verb. So here's a sample. The dog, singular noun, plus the action verb, barks. So now you have to come up with your own. Go through that list on number 1 under your turn and go ahead now. Okay, now you should be back and you should have all those questions done. So we're going on to you trying, which is what you just did on your paper. And let's see, where am I at here? Let me find my slide. Okay, here we go. So I want you to try these samples on your paper. You've got them under number 2. Go ahead and label them. All right, so monkeys eat bananas. Label any sentence parts you see, subject or verb or anything. Okay, these are the second type of pattern. All right, so you should find 3 examples of this pattern: subject plus verb plus direct object. So each one of these has a subject, a action verb, and a direct object. So go ahead and label those sentences right now. All right, here's the answers. Okay, monkeys is your subject, eat is your verb, bananas is your direct object. If you got that right, good job. Number 2, she loves her job. She is your subject, loves is the action verb, and her is the direct object, her job. And number 3, he is my subject. Is eating is my verb. So look here, this is a contraction, so you got to split it up into 2 words. He is eating. Is eating is that verb phrase. It's an action verb. And I have the direct object. What is he eating? An orange. What does she love? Her job. What do monkeys eat? Bananas. That gives you your direct object. So that's sentence pattern number 2. If you got all those right, great job. All right, you got to practice. So number 3 on your notes, go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to write 3 examples of this pattern: subject plus verb plus direct object. Come up with your own sentences. Go ahead and pause the video and do this. All right, welcome back. We're moving on to number 4. Keep up the good work. Pattern number 3, it's getting a little trickier. So now we can have an indirect object. So subject plus verb, indirect object, direct object. Here's an example below. Jenny made Dad a cake. My verb is made. That's an action verb. Who made? Jenny. She made it. Jenny made what? What did she make? She made a cake. Who did she make the cake for? Dad. That's my indirect object, okay? All right, let's try these in your notes. So look at number 4 in your notes. Go ahead and label the subject, the verb, the indirect object, and the direct object. So take a minute with these 3 and label them in your notes. You can pause the video and try them now. All right, let's look at the answers. Good job. Number 1, the teacher is my subject. Gave is the verb. What did the teacher give? The teacher gave A's. That's my direct object. That's got to find that first. Who did she give A's to? Her students. Indirect object. To whom or for whom. All right, next. Grandfather is my subject. Will leave is my verb. The grandfather will leave what? What is he leaving? His money. It's my direct object. Who did he leave it to? The dogs. It's an unfortunate thing to leave your money to. All right, number 3. The pirates sold me a boat. What's my verb? Sold, that's an action verb, just like the rest of them. The pirate is the subject, doing the action. The pirate sold, what did they sell? A boat, that's direct object. Who did they sell it to? Me, that's my indirect object. Good job. All right, and the last one, we're going to talk about the subject and the linking verbs here in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and pause before I get on to pattern 4 because this one's a little tricky. So I'm going to explain it a little further. Thank you and great job. Keep it up.